After you traded Jordan to the Lakers, your new Bulls roster now includes the following players. Number 1 pick Tim Duncan, point guard Steve Nash, shooting guard Kobe Bryant, small forward Tracy McGrady, and center Ben Wallace. Your rotation players are Jermaine O'Neal, Rasheed Wallace, Ray Allen, Dale Curry, Steve Kerr, and Daji, as well as the recently recruited free agent Bruce Bowen, who was selected by your assistant coach. There's also an Argentinian, Manu Ginobili, currently playing in Europe. Even with your identity as a time traveler, you've seen your fair share of storms and remained calm in the face of change. But when you heard Lin Naza mention the name Manu Ginobili, you still couldn't help but leap straight out of your executive chair in excitement. Lin Naza's beautiful eyes sparkled, a hint of surprise and curiosity in her gaze. "That's right, Manu Ginobili," she said. "Chinfei, do you know this white player? According to the records, he entered the Argentine National League at 17, and in just 3 years, he's already become the league's scoring king." Lin Naza thought to herself that although Manu Ginobili was the top scorer in the Argentine League, the level of competition in the basketball leagues of small South American countries was even lower than that of the Chinese CBA. In the NBA, a league full of elite players, he was virtually unknown. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone to play in the Summer League. You chuckled and nodded. "I suppose we've crossed paths once." Who would have thought that this bald guy is already 20 years old, with Steve Nash from Canada already on the team, and soon a domestic center powerhouse will join as well. The team has actually considered strengthening the roster with international players for some time, but Manu Ginobili had never really come to mind. After all, in your memory, Ginobili only entered the NBA draft in 1999 and didn't finish his stint in the European leagues until 2002. He officially joined the NBA's San Antonio Spurs. It's worth mentioning that in Ginobili's very first season with the Spurs, the team won the NBA championship for the 2002 to 2003 season. You had considered Dirk Nowitzki, who entered the draft in 1998, and Pau Gasol, who joined the NBA in 2001. But you never thought of Manu Ginobili. Subconsciously, you assumed he was probably still underage at this point. But now, looking at it, Ginobili was born in 1977, making him older than both Nowitzki and Gasol, and only a year younger than this year's number 1 pick, Tim Duncan. The bald Lin Naja frowned slightly. Lin Naja couldn't help but twitch his nose, then looked down at the game photo of Ginobili attached to the file. With that flowing long hair and delicate appearance, he really didn't look anything like a bald guy. "Ah, it's nothing." You smiled and asked, "How did Manu perform in tonight's game?" Manu Ginobili started for the Raptors tonight, played 32 minutes over 3 quarters, and scored 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. A pretty impressive performance. You nodded in satisfaction. "Not bad. Get him signed as soon as possible. I'll leave this matter to you," Lin Naja said. "I didn't expect you to be so decisive." His boss is hard to figure out. "Alright, I'll do it as soon as possible." Last season, Bruce had a 1-year, $260,000 contract with the Heat, but was waived after 1 game. In Europe, Manu Ginobili was offered a 3-year, $500,000 contract. Signing him here at the minimum salary won't be a problem. For contract length, I suggest just 1 year to evaluate further. Just staying in the NBA is already a big favor for these two. After Lin Naja's analysis, you shook your head and waved, eyes flashing. "No, sign them both to long-term contracts for me. 3 years minimum. By the way, what's the salary cap for teams in the league this year? What's the current salary structure of our roster?" Lin Naja quickly reported to you. For the 1997-98 NBA season, the salary cap for each team is $26.9 million. There are currently 10 players under contract on the team. The highest annual salary belongs to Tim Duncan. Following your instructions, management just signed him to a 3-year, $10.2 million rookie max contract, with a salary of $2.97 million for the new season. Third-year player Rasheed Wallace currently has the second highest salary on the team, at $2.33 million. And veteran Del Curry is third. An annual salary of $2.09 million for Del Curry, $2.05 million for Ray Allen, $1.36 million for Tracy McGrady, $1.18 million for Kobe, $1.05 million for Steve Nash, $950,000 for Jermaine O'Neal, $760,000 for Steve Kerr, and $620,000 for Ben Wallace. The combined salaries of these 10 players add up to a total of $15.34 million, leaving the team with over $11 million in salary cap space, enough to sign another big-name free agent. After hearing Lin Naja's report, you can't help but exclaim how incredibly cost-effective this is. At their peak, at least 8 out of these 10 players are all-star caliber, and 3 of them are MVP-level players. Altogether, their combined annual salary is only $15 million, which is just half of Michael Jordan's $30.15 million salary. The benefits of rookie contracts are truly amazing. Even Steve Kerr, who delivered a near game-winning shot in the finals and is already a 10-year league veteran, is only making a little over $700,000 a year. That's some serious dedication. You think that when the championship rings are handed out at the season opener, Steve Kerr should get an extra $1 or $2 million as a bonus. After all, this Bulls team right now, Now, Steve Kerr is the only remaining veteran from the previous era. Besides, Kerr is also the old captain for this group of Bulls rookies. As for Bruce Bowen and Manu Ginobili, I have high hopes for them. To make sure they're fully committed and play their best in Chicago, I'd offer them slightly bigger contracts, but not higher than Ben Wallace's. So an annual salary of around $600,000, signing them for 3 to 4 years. That way, once they make a name for themselves, it'll also be easier to use them as trade assets in the free market to get players who fit the team's system better. You know, the current team roster isn't exactly well balanced across all positions. Whether it's the starters or the bench, there aren't enough balls to go around for everyone. So there will definitely need to be more trades to make the roster even more perfect. That's why having enough trade assets is the only way to truly do whatever you want. Both Ginobili and Ray Allen are shooting guards, and once Kobe really starts playing at an MVP level in the starting lineup, one of these two bench players will inevitably have to be traded. If we can develop Ginobili and Ray Allen early into Super Sixth men who can average over 20 points per game, then after some maneuvering, it's not out of the question to trade for someone like Kevin Garnett or even Grant Hill. The more you think about it, the more excited you get. Damn, you really are a genius. With Manu and Bruce signed, plus Darji about to join, 13 out of the 15 roster spots are already set. There are just 2 spots left. Nazar, bring me a list of this summer's free agents. You sit at your desk, casually flipping through the file Nazar hands you, and several big-name players immediately catch your eye. Patrick Ewing, Grant Hill, Sean Kemp, Tim Hardaway, John Stockton. Jason Kidd, the gorilla Patrick Ewing. Ewing was drafted in 1985 and hailed as the King of New York, one of the 4 great centers. Throughout his career so far, he's always played for the Knicks. In your memory, in the summer of 1997 in the original world, Jordan also tested free agency. At that time, the first team Jordan considered leaving the Bulls for wasn't the Los Angeles Lakers, but the New York Knicks. James Dolan boldly claimed he would offer Jordan a blank check, and Knicks fans were eagerly anticipating a championship run with Jordan and Ewing teaming up. But in the end, Jordan chose to stay with the Bulls, and Ewing re-signed with the Knicks on a sky-high contract worth over $20,500,000 a year. Even Jordan's contract was only $30 million, and besides, Jordan's salary didn't count against the team's cap. But Patrick Ewing's $20.5 million annual salary took up 3/4 of the Knicks' salary cap. Naturally, the Knicks paid a hefty luxury tax that year, which just goes to show how deep James Dolan's pockets are in the metropolis of New York. However, the high luxury tax and sky-high salary didn't bring Ewing and the Knicks a championship. After losing the 1999 NBA Finals 1-4 to Tim Duncan's Spurs, the gorilla officially began his decline. As a time traveler with foreknowledge, you certainly wouldn't give Ewing a king's ransom. Besides, you know very well that James Dolan would never let the King of New York go. Forget about giving him $20 million a year. Even $2 million would be hard to part with. Even Duncan's salary is only $2.9 million now. Ben Wallace's salary is only a little over $600,000. Surely that's better value than an aging Ewing. Still, you decided to play a prank and had Lynn Nisha call Ewing's agent, hinting that the Bulls were considering offering him a $20 million annual contract. Ewing was touched, but he's a sentimental guy and naturally still wanted to stay with the Knicks. Besides, just looking at the rookie lineup the Bulls owner had put together gave him a headache. News of the Bulls' pursuit of Ewing reached Knicks owner James Dolan, and it scared Dolan so much that he didn't hesitate for a second. He immediately renewed the contract. Ewing's new deal was set at an annual salary of $22 million, over $1 million more than in your previous life. You couldn't help but laugh. James Dolan really is the definition of someone with more money than sense. Aside from Patrick Ewing, Grant Hill was the biggest catch on this year's free agent market. When you saw Grant Hill, your eyes couldn't help but light up. Grant Hill came from a distinguished family, graduated from Duke University, studied under Coach K, and was the 3rd overall pick in the 1994 draft. He entered the league just as Jordan retired for the first time, and in his rookie season, Hill became the NBA's top vote getter, with David Stern hailing him as Jordan's successor. For his first 3 seasons in the league, Hill played for the Detroit Pistons. Last season, he averaged 21.4 points, 9 rebounds, and 7.3 assists per game, earning a spot on the All-NBA first team. In your previous life, Grant Hill's career took a major hit after he suffered a devastating injury at the turn of the century, which greatly diminished his professional achievements. But there's no doubt that Grant Hill has always been a Hall of Fame caliber star, and he's always been one of the veteran players you liked. In this parallel world, you think that if the system is capable, you'll try your best to help Grant Hill avoid that major injury. But as for signing such a superstar, you haven't made any plans. And you know very well that the Pistons would never let Hill go in free agency. Besides, in your view, as long as McGrady develops well in the future, he'll easily surpass Grant Hill by a mile. Sean. In the 1990s, he was also an old-school representative among power forwards. In Seattle, he formed a dynamic duo with the glove Gary Payton, and together they reached the NBA Finals in 1996, ultimately falling just short against the Bulls. In the recently concluded 1997 All-Star Game, Kemp received the fourth highest number of votes, trailing only behind Jordan, Hill, and Sir Charles Barkley. This alone is enough to show how famous and highly regarded Shawn Kemp is among American basketball fans today. With some free time on your hands, you personally called Kemp's agent. Hello, I'm the owner of the Chicago Bulls. May I ask if Mr. Shawn Kemp would consider coming to Chicago to team up with our #1 draft pick? On the other end of the line, Kemp's agent John politely replied, "Sorry, Mr. Chin, but Shawn Kemp will only consider joining a team with championship potential. He absolutely won't consider a team that's rebuilding." You raised your eyebrows and chuckled. Alright then, I actually wasn't planning to sign an over-the-hill power forward anyway. Goodbye. On the other end, sitting on his own sofa, Kemp's agent Johnson was instantly dumbfounded. What the heck? Is this new Bulls owner messing with me? Calling Kemp an over-the-hill power forward? Heh, just wait. Next season he'll make that #1 pick question his whole life. Now, on to the next few big-name free agents. John Stockton, Tim Hardaway, Jason Kidd, they're all point guards. You think to yourself, right now the team only has Steve, who's a pure point guard, so the point guard position does need to be strengthened. But Stockton, the all-time assist leader, is already past his prime, and both Tim Hardaway and Jason Kidd's original teams will do everything they can to re-sign them. Even if you really did sign one of them, would you really make a star player back up a second-year old-timer like Nash? In your view, as long as they can develop healthily under your management, their future career ceiling will definitely be higher than any of those three-point guards. After weighing all the options, you finally decide to forget it and just use that $10 million or so in salary cap space as bonuses for the players in the new season. The current Chicago Bulls simply can't accommodate any big-name stars anymore, because before long, every player on this team will become a true star. You push aside the files on your desk, get up, and walk to the floor-to-ceiling window. Looking out at the basketball training facility, you see Kobe and Big Ben still tirelessly and diligently practicing, while McGrady has already gone back to the villa to rest. It's already 10 o'clock at night, not because McGrady is slacking off, nor because you're not supervising well enough, but simply because you know. McGrady suffers from congenital scoliosis, so his training intensity could never reach the level of Kobe or Big Ben. Otherwise, McGrady would have been worn out and crippled long ago. In his previous life, McGrady wasn't lazy or unmotivated, it was just that his congenital condition always plagued him, and he often experienced spinal pain from overtraining. Only you, as his closest friend, know that beneath McGrady's carefree, unserious exterior lies a heart more devoted to basketball than anyone else's. If only McGrady's congenital scoliosis could be corrected. If he could recover and return to normal, then in your eyes, McGrady in this life would undoubtedly become the league's undisputed greatest small forward in history. Even LeBron in later generations wouldn't be able to surpass him. But with such a congenital disease, how could the medical standards of the 1990s possibly overcome it? Fortunately, you still have the all-powerful system. While browsing the system's shop earlier, you were pleasantly surprised to discover a medical item called the Congenital Disease Universal Treatment Card. After the system's explanation, you were delighted to learn that this treatment card could perfectly correct McGrady's scoliosis. This would allow him to completely say goodbye to the troubles of illness and embark on a brand new professional career. However, the price of this kind of medical card is extremely high, often costing hundreds of thousands of Dynasty points, which you simply can't afford with your current system balance. But you believe that as the regular season unfolds, by continuously winning games and completing system tasks, you'll definitely be able to accumulate enough Dynasty points to give your close friend McGrady a new lease on life. By then, Tracy McGrady will surely be able to fully unleash his talent on the court. One day later, the Orlando Summer League continues, and today the Chicago Bulls will face their second Summer League opponent, the Philadelphia 76ers. Reggie Miller and Charles Barkley, the two lively commentators, are still sitting at the commentary table. However, this time, you didn't pay them to hype things up. They volunteered to come and talk up Tim Duncan and Steve Nash for a bit of fun. Charles, Tim got 39 points and 21 rebounds in the last game, but that's not the 40 and 20 you were talking about. Don't forget your promise for the season opener. Barkley rolled his eyes at Reggie Miller and replied cleverly, "Reggie, don't you forget your own promise either. For the season opener, don't forget to bring me a pretty little donkey. It has to match my handsome looks as the flying pig." Charles, I can't help but ask, on behalf of the word handsome, is it really polite for you to say that? After Tim Duncan put up an insane stat line of 39 points, 21 rebounds, and 7 assists in just the first half against the Raptors 2 days ago, and with the media going wild with their coverage and praise, ESPN also decided to broadcast this Bulls vs Philadelphia 76ers game live through one of its radio stations. There were noticeably more fans in the courtside seats, and among the VIP seats in the front row, two black men dressed in hip-hop casual wear drew a lot of attention and excitement from the crowd. These two were none other than the current stars of the Philadelphia 76ers, Allen Iverson. And sitting with him was last season's Defensive Player of the Year, known as the African Mountain and affectionately called Mutombo the Uncle, Dikembe Mutombo. At this time, Mutombo was only 31 years old, much younger than the 40-year-old version who would later join the Rockets. Just yesterday, in a trade that shocked the entire league, Atlanta Hawks center Dikembe Mutombo was officially traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. To acquire this 2.18-meter-tall elite defensive center, the Sixers gave up all-star forward Derek Coleman and 3 first-round draft picks. In their quest to find a strong partner for their number 1 pick, Allen Iverson, the Sixers management has truly mortgaged their future. The partnership between Allen Iverson and Mutombo in Philadelphia has shocked the league, and the Sixers have also jumped from 22nd to 9th place in the latest ESPN Team Power Rankings. If you remember correctly, in the original timeline, Mutombo didn't join the Sixers until 2001, and it was that year that he and Iverson led the Sixers to the finals together. That year, Allen Iverson was also both the regular season MVP and the scoring champion. But in this parallel world, with Mutombo joining 3 seasons earlier and teaming up with Iverson, could this spark Iverson's peak to arrive even sooner? At this moment, Iverson sits in the VIP seats with his signature cornrows, diamond earrings, and a gold chain, dressed in hip-hop style, exuding a rebellious vibe. Teaming up with Mutombo has clearly put Iverson in a great mood, and he's full of anticipation for the new season. Officially listed at 6 feet 0 inches, 183 centimeters, Iverson's real height is under 5 feet 11, 180 centimeters, while Mutombo is a solid 7 feet 2, 218 meters. Next to Mutombo, Iverson looks much smaller, almost 2 sizes down. They look like a father and son watching the game. Dikembe, the Bulls' top draft pick this year, Tim Duncan, is no ordinary player. I faced him in the NCAA, and he's improved a lot over the past year. We'll face the Bulls this season. You'll have to take on the task of limiting his scoring. Hearing Iverson's words, Mutombo, with his large dark hand, touched his nose and chuckled softly. The new generation always surpasses the old. I've watched this kid play. He's really strong. Just the other day, he put up 39 points and 21 rebounds in 1 half. His future is limitless. When we face off in the new season, if I can hold his average stats to 15 points and 8 rebounds, I'd consider that pretty good. Uncle Mutombo is known for his humility, always low-key both in public and in private. Tim is indeed very strong, but we also have our own exceptionally talented second overall pick, Keith Van Horn. Let's see what kind of numbers he can put up against Tim tonight. Soon, the starting 5 from both the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers took to the court, and the game was about to begin. Meanwhile, in the massive conference room at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, the area was packed with renowned journalists from all over the United States, with staff from dozens of newspapers and radio stations gathered together. Out on the plaza outside the Staples Center, tens of thousands of passionate fans had also gathered, making for an incredibly lively scene, because tonight, the Los Angeles Lakers were holding a press conference to officially unveil Michael Jordan's Lakers number 23 jersey. For the Los Angeles Lakers and their fans, this was bound to be an unforgettable night. From the very moment Michael Jordan's Lakers number 23 jersey was unveiled, it was destined to be retired in the rafters of the Staples Center. For the illustrious purple and gold franchise, the greatest player in history would no longer be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, or Wilt Chamberlain, but the basketball god himself, Michael Jordan. At exactly 8 p.m., when Jordan, dressed in a suit and escorted by 4 top bodyguards, walked into the press conference, the entire room of over 1,000 journalists erupted instantly. Michael, how do you feel about teaming up with Shaquille O'Neal in the new season? Michael, how many championship trophies do you think you can win for the Lakers before you retire? Michael, which team do you think will be the Lakers' biggest rival in the new season? The Utah Jazz, Houston Rockets, or Miami Heat? Michael, what do you think about rookie Tim Duncan scoring 39 points, grabbing 21 rebounds, and blocking shots in just half a game in the Summer League? Michael, there are rumors that you already own a 5% stake in the Chicago Bulls. Is this information true?